All right. Good morning, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're joining us from. Coach Kevin here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Very first thing I'd like to do as we get started this morning or this afternoon, again, depending on where you are, is share a few things with you that will be relevant and helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. The first thing I want to share with you is we have a Facebook group that coincides with this meetup group. It has the same name. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. So we'd invite you to come join us. I'll tell you why you'll probably want to in a moment. However, I'm going to tell you how to find us. So first of all, you can go into your own Facebook profile. Just look for where it says search Facebook and type in the name of the group. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. And you will find the group. Come ask to join us, and we'll be happy to have you. The other way you could find us is you could go directly to facebook.com/groups/ I want to be really rich, all as one word. Okay. So why might you want to join the group? A few different reasons. Reason number one that I can think of is if we have anything special to announce to the entire group, it will typically be pinned to the top. The next thing, as long as I remember to hit the record button on the Zoom meeting, which I typically do, we will go ahead and post the previous, we'll post the previous Zoom meetings. For instance, here you go. That was yesterday. I want to be really rich, 2/9/2021, which was yesterday. And then it tells you what it was that we were actually studying. And then here you go. Here was the day before that, and so on and so forth. So you can actually have access to any meetings you miss. Now, why might you want to even do that? Well, first of all, let's say you're on today's meeting and you really like it. Well, this is a way for you to go back and review it. I try and get it up the same day or the next morning. For instance, it was the next morning today, the day before it was the same day. It just depends on my schedule and internet cooperation with rendering videos and things like that. So, and getting them up into, getting them posted for you. But typically the same day or the next morning, they're up and ready to go for you. The other reason you might want to do it is, let's say you just joined us today for the first time and we're in the middle of doing something, which as a matter of fact, we are, and you want to get caught up with us. Well, this is a great way to get caught up. Okay, next thing I want to share with you is what we are in the process of doing right now. We are actually in the process of going through a book called The Game of Life. It's written by Florence Skovel Shinn. And so it's The Game of Life. Florence Skovel Shinn is the author. It was written a while back. She is no longer with us. However, phenomenally good book. I've read it multiple times in the past year or two. And I can tell you that one of the reasons we chose to go through this is because she gives a lot of actual examples of what people did to manifest things that they want in their life. Now, our group is specifically geared towards manifesting more money and wealth in our life. However, the principles sometimes are the same for other things. So Florence actually does talk and give specific examples of manifesting more money and wealth. She also gives examples on health and relationships and other things. What, again, I really like is it actually is showing truly what the person did to make the change. And so I love the different examples that Florence shares. And we started November 5th with this group. We've already gone through a lot of different things in relationship to manifesting money and wealth in our lives. And some of you guys already have reported back some pretty cool results, which is great. And this is what we're going through right now. Now, what I like to do when possible, I happen to own this book on Kindle. I own it on Audible. What I like to do though is see if I can find a free copy for you guys, especially if it's an older book like this that could be in the public domain. So I did find a free copy for you by typing that into Google. I scrolled down a ways, I looked at several, and this is the one I happen to like right here. Hang on a second, scroll down a little bit. Here we go. The one that I chose is this one right here. The Game of Life, by Florence Skovel Shinn - free ebook. And if you go up here, the website that I found it on is www.globalgrayebooks.com. And then here it says Game of Life book. So what I did is I just clicked on the link like I'm showing you here. So you can go do the same thing. And here's what popped up. Then I scrolled down a ways. I chose PDF. You can choose whatever you want. And once I did that, up popped this. Now it actually brought me to the cover page, page 1, not page 27. We're sitting here at 27 because that's where we left off yesterday. Actually, we left off right about 28, but I'm going to pick us back up at 27 as we get rolling with this today. All right. So what we're going to do, by the way, just so you know, you will have plenty of opportunity, especially if you're new with us and wondering how this works, plenty of opportunity to share because we like to save about 10, 15 minutes towards the end for you to share whatever you would like to share that's obviously appropriate for what we're doing. And or ask whatever questions you like to ask in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth in your life, and or what we've been studying and going through today, or even days past since we got started. All right. Another thing to note, if you go into chat and start chatting, I don't pay attention to it. Particularly not at the stage right now because I'm going to be in the middle of reading. So I'm not going to stop to do that. So if you have a burning question that you want to ask, write it down because we will open up that time for you to ask questions. And what we'll do is you'll come off mute and you will share with the group. That way we can all learn what's going on from each other through your questions or whatever it is that you like to share. So for now, I'm going to get a sip of water here and jump on in and we're going to get rolling. All right. Very important first statement here. It's kind of why I wanted to back up just a little bit, even though we passed this by about a page yesterday. One's ships come in over a calm sea. And again, Takira is doing definitely, I don't know if she's with us this morning or not, but I remember many talks, and so you guys probably have been with us, with Takira about asking her to chill out and be more calm. And since she's done that, she's had much better results. So she could probably attest to this for sure. One's ships come in over a calm sea. So long as man or woman, okay, hang on. So long as man or woman resists a situation, he or she will have it with them. If he or she runs away from it, it will run after them. Okay. For example, I repeated this to a woman one day and she replied, "How true that is. I was unhappy at home. I disliked my mother, who was critical and domineering. So I ran away and was married. But I married my mother, for my husband was exactly like my mother, and I had the same situation to face again. Agree with thine adversary quickly." That means agree that the adverse situation is good, be undisturbed by it, and it falls away of its own weight. None of these things move me is a wonderful affirmation. The inharmonious situation comes from some inharmony within man or woman themselves. When there is in him no emotional response to an inharmonious situation, it fades away forever from his pathway. Let me repeat that. When there is in him no emotional response to an inharmonious situation, it fades away forever from his pathway. So if you don't get worked up about it and don't allow it to fester, and you don't repeat it and play it over and over in your mind, it will fall away. So we see man's work is ever with himself. People have said to me, "Give treatments to change my husband or my brother." I reply, "No, I will give treatments to change you. When you change, your husband and your brother will change." One of my students was in the habit of lying. I told her it was a failure method, and if she lied, she would be lied to. She replied, "I don't care. I can't possibly get along without lying." One day, she was speaking on the phone to a man with whom she was very much in love. She turned to me and said, "I don't trust him. I know he's lying to me." I replied, Well, you lie yourself, so someone has to lie to you. And you will be sure it will be just the person you want the truth from. Sometime after that, I saw her and she said, I am cured of lying. I questioned, what cured you? She replied, I've been living with a woman who lied worse than I did. One is often cured of his failures by seeing them in others. Let me repeat. One is often cured of his or her failures by seeing them in others. Life is a mirror, and we find only ourselves reflected in our associates. Ooh, 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 ooh. Life is a mirror, and we find only ourselves reflected in our associates. Living in the past is a failure method and a violation of spiritual law. Jesus Christ said, behold, now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. The robbers of time are the past and the future. Man should bless the past and forget it, if it keeps him in bondage, and bless the future, knowing it has in store for him or her endless joys, but live fully in the now. For example, a woman came to me complaining that she had no money with which to buy Christmas gifts. She said, last year was so different. I had plenty of money and gave lovely presents, and this year I have scarcely a cent. I replied, you will never demonstrate money while you are pathetic and live in the past. Ooh, let me repeat that. And by the way, yes, there is noise in the background. Okay. The the condos that I live in, they're having some work done next door. And I think they're also doing yard work. So I cannot turn that off. And that's cool. We talked about this yesterday. This actually comes up really funny because people have been annoyed by other people and noises and things going on. So this is awesome, actually. This is a good object lesson. I replied, you will never demonstrate money while you are pathetic and live in the past. Live fully in the now and get ready to give Christmas presents. Dig your ditches and the money will come. And that's referring back to previous things that were said, I believe, yesterday. She exclaimed, I know what to do. I will buy some tinsel twine, Christmas seals, and wrapping paper. I replied, do that, and the presents will come and stick themselves to the Christmas seals. This too is showing financial fearlessness and faith in God, as the reasoning mind said, keep every cent you have, as you're not sure you will get any more. She bought the seals, paper, and twine, and a few days before Christmas, received a gift of several $100s. Buying the seals and twine had impressed the subconscious with expectancy and opened the way for the manifestation of the money. She purchased all the presents in plenty of time. Now, let me share with you that it's important. She was inspired to do this. Follow inspiration, revelation, and intuition. If you feel crappy and you go do the same thing, you'll get a crappy result. She chose to feel good, and this was a way for her to rejoice and celebrate the ability she had to give presents, and then the presents had to appear, or the money or whatever was necessary. The presents themselves would have appeared. In this case, the money appeared to buy them. Man must live suspended in the moment. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salvation of the dawn. He must be spiritually alert, ever awaiting his leads, which is that inspiration, revelation, intuition, taking advantage of every opportunity. One day I said continually, silently, so repeating in their mind, Infinite Spirit, don't let me miss the trick. And something very important was told to me that evening. It is most necessary to begin the day with right words. Make an affirmation immediately upon waking. Here's an example of one you could do. Thy will be done this day. Today is a day of completion. I give thanks for this perfect day. Miracle shall follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease. Make this a habit, and one will see wonders and miracles come into his life. One morning, I picked up a book and read, Look with wonder at that which is before you. It seemed to be my message for the day. So I repeated it again and again. Look with wonder at that which is before you. At about noon, a large sum of money was given me, which I had been desiring for a certain purpose. In a following chapter, I will give affirmations that I have found most effective. However, one should never use an affirmation unless it is absolutely satisfying and convincing to his own consciousness. And often affirmative is changed and often an affirmative or affirmation is changed to suit different people. For example, the following has brought success to many. I have a wonderful work in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay. I gave the first two lines to one of my students, and she added the last two. It made a most powerful statement, as there should always be perfect payment for perfect service, and a rhyme sinks easily into the subconscious. She went about singing it aloud and soon did receive wonderful work in a wonderful way, and gave wonderful service for wonderful pay. Another student, a businessman, took it and changed the word work to business. He repeated, I have a wonderful business in a wonderful way, and I give wonderful service for wonderful pay. That afternoon, he made a $41,000 deal, though there had been no activity in his affairs for months. Every affirmation must be carefully worded and completely cover the ground. For example, I knew a woman who was in great need and made a demand for work. She received a great deal of work, but was never paid anything. she now knows to add wonderful service for wonderful pay. You know what? This is totally true. For those of you who remember Leslie Householder, that goes back to Hidden Treasures. That was after we went through the Science of Getting Rich. That was the first thing we went through, Hidden Treasures. And Leslie shared this with me personally as we were talking. She wanted people, so she decided she wanted to attract people that wanted what she had. Let me repeat that. She decided she wanted to attract people who wanted what she had. And she almost went broke. And so she learned the lesson even herself, understanding the law of attraction. She had created something that wasn't working, and she realized, oh, and so she changed it to, attracting people that not only wanted what she has and also paid for it. And then she started doing very well. Total true story, face to face, that she and I talked about. This was years ago. Right, and basically right here, right? For example, so be careful what you're doing and how you're going about it. Subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor. I knew a woman who was in great need and made demand for work. She received a great deal of work, but was never paid anything. I bet you guys have had that happen. Not all of you. I bet somebody here has had something similar to that happen. She now knows to add wonderful service for wonderful pay. It is man's divine right to have plenty. By the way, woman's too, right? It's a person's divine right to have plenty, more than enough. His barns should be full, and his cup should flow over. This is God's idea for man. And when man breaks down the barriers of lack in his own consciousness, the golden age will be his, and every righteous desire of his heart fulfilled. Okay. Going on to the next chapter. I really like this. Very, very, very cool. Very, very cool chapter here. Especially, I love the law of forgiveness. The law of karma and the law of forgiveness. Man receives only that which he gives. The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Man's thoughts, deeds, and words return to him sooner or later with astounding accuracy. This is the law of karma, which is Sanskrit for comeback. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For example, a friend told me this story of herself, illustrating the law. She said, I make all my karma on my aunt. Whatever I say to her, someone says to me. I am often irritable at home, and one day said to my aunt, who was talking to me during dinner, no more talk. I wish to eat in peace. The following day, I was lunching with a woman with whom I wished to make a great impression. I was talking animatedly when she said, "No more talk. I wish to eat in peace." My friend is high in consciousness, so her karma returns much more quickly than to one on the mental plane. The more man or woman knows, the more he or she is responsible for. And a person with a knowledge of spiritual law, which he or she does not practice, suffers greatly in consequence. The fear of the Lord, the law, is the beginning of wisdom. And I would like to use the word the respect for, okay? The fear of the Lord, the respect of the Lord, or the law, is the beginning of wisdom. If we read the word Lord as law, it will make many passages in the Bible much clearer. Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Saith the law. It is the law which takes vengeance, not God. God sees man perfect, created in his own image, imagination, and given power and dominion. This is the perfect idea of man, registered in divine mind, awaiting man's recognition, for man can only be what he sees himself to be, and only attain what he sees himself attaining. Nothing ever happens without an onlooker, is an ancient saying. Man sees first his failure or success, his joy or sorrow, before it swings into visibility in the scenes that set in his own imagination. We have observed this in the mother picturing disease for her child, or a woman seeing success for her husband. Jesus Christ said, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." So we see freedom from all unhappy conditions comes through knowledge, a knowledge of spiritual law. Obedience precedes authority, and the law obeys man when he obeys the law. The law of electricity must be obeyed before it becomes man's servant. When handled ignorantly, it becomes man's deadly foe. So with the laws of mind. For example, a woman with a strong personal will wished she owned a house, which belongs to an acquaintance, and she often made mental pictures of herself living in the house. In the course of time, the man died, and she moved into the house. Several years afterwards, coming into the knowledge of spiritual law, she said to me, "Do you think I had anything to do with that man's death?" I replied, "Yes. Your desire was so strong, everything made way for it, but you paid your karmic debt. Your husband, whom you loved devotedly, died soon after, and the house was a white elephant on your hands for years." The original owner, however, could not have been affected. So understand this. The original owner, however, could not have been affected by her thoughts had he been positive in the truth, nor her husband, but they were both under karmic law. The woman should have said, feeling the great desire for the house, "Infinite intelligence, give me the right house, equally as charming as this, the house which is mine by divine right." I know several of you would like a house, and not just any house. Some of you have already decided the one, and maybe somebody already lives there. You may or may not end up with that house, okay? This is a better way to go about it. Infinite intelligence, give me the right house, equally as charming as this, the house which is mine by divine right. The divine selection would have given perfect satisfaction and brought good to all. The divine pattern is the only safe pattern to work by. The divine pattern is the only safe pattern to work by. Desire is a tremendous force and must be directed in the right channels or chaos ensues. In demonstrating, the most important step is the first step, to ask aright. Man should always demand only that which is his by divine right. And I tend to cover that, not necessarily by those specific words. I like to use this or something better, because God knows what's best for me. To go back to the illustration, had the woman taken this attitude, "If this house I desire is mine, I cannot lose it. If it is not, give me its equivalent," the man might have decided to move out harmoniously, had it been the divine selection for her, or another house would have been substituted. Anything forced into manifestation through personal will is always ill-got and has ever bad success. Man is admonished, my will be done, not thine. And the curious thing is, man always gets just what he desires when he does relinquish personal will, thereby enabling infinite intelligence to work through him. Stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord, or of the law. For example, a woman came to me in great distress. Her daughter had determined to take a very hazardous trip, and the mother was filled with fear. She said she had used every argument, had pointed out the dangers to be encountered, and forbidden her to go. But the daughter became more and more rebellious and determined. Yep, that's wonderful parenting that we sometimes do, huh? I said to the mother, you're forcing your personal will upon your daughter, which you have no right to do, and your fear of the trip is only attracting it, for man attracts what he fears. I added, let go and take your mental handcuffs off. Put it in God's hands and use this statement. I put this situation in the hands of infinite love and wisdom. If the trip is the divine plan, bless it and no longer resist. But if it's not divinely planned, I give thanks that it is now dissolved and dissipated. A day or two after that, her daughter said to her, Mother, I've given up the trip, and the situation returned to its native nothingness. It is learning to stand still, which seems so difficult for man or woman. I will deal more fully with this law in the chapter on non-resistance. I will give another example of sowing and reaping, which came in the most curious way. A woman came to me saying she had received a counterfeit $20 bill given to her at the bank. She was much disturbed, for, she said, the people at the bank will never acknowledge their mistake. I replied, let us analyze the situation and find out why you attracted it. She thought for a few moments and exclaimed, I know it. I sent a friend a lot of stage money just for a joke. So the law had sent her some stage money, for it doesn't know anything about jokes. So be careful, people, about practical jokes, by the way. I said, now we will call on and here's my favorite, the law of forgiveness, guys. Oh, this is our saving grace here, the law of forgiveness. I said, now we will call on the law of forgiveness and neutralize the situation. Christianity is founded upon the law of forgiveness. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the karmic law, and the Christ within each man is his redeemer and salvation from all inharmonious conditions. So I said, Infinite Spirit, we call on the law of forgiveness and give thanks that she is under grace and not under law, and cannot lose this $20, which is hers by divine right. Now I said, go back to the bank and tell them fearlessly that it was given you there by mistake. She obeyed, and to her surprise, they apologized and gave her another bill, treating her most courteously. So, knowledge of the law gives man power to rub out his mistakes. Man cannot force the external to be what he is not. If he desires riches, he must be rich first in consciousness. For example, a woman came to me asking treatment for prosperity. She did not take much interest in her household affairs, and her home was in great disorder. I said to her, if you wish to be rich, you must be orderly. All men with great wealth are orderly, and order is heaven's first law. I added, you will never become rich with a burnt match in the pincushion. She had a good sense of humor and commenced immediately, putting her house in order. She rearranged the furniture, straightened out the bureau drawers, cleaned rugs, and soon made a big financial demonstration, a gift from a relative. The woman herself became made over and keeps herself keyed up financially by being ever watchful of the external and expecting prosperity, knowing God is her supply. Many people are in ignorance of the fact that gifts and things are investments, and that hoarding and saving invariably leads to loss. That is a good place to stop. We're going to repeat that tomorrow, okay? But keep this in mind. Many people are in ignorance of the fact that gifts and things are investments, and that hoarding and saving invariably lead to loss. Okay. So we'll come off of screen share now. And yay, there's some more people here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to have all of you here. We may even have a new friend or guest join us today, I think, possibly. So let me explain what we're doing now really quickly. This is our opportunity to share and our opportunity to ask questions. So what is it that we would share? First of all, anything that you've got in relationship to intentionally manifesting something that you want that has gone right, feel free to share that story with us, and put in whatever detail you can so that we figure out what you did. Okay. The other thing to share is anything that you've learned along the way so far. So we've been going since November 5th. So anything you've learned so far, or anything maybe that you learned from today, or some ahas that you have. The other thing that you can do is ask questions. Again, you can ask questions about what we've been studying today. You can ask questions about what we've gone through in the past, and or you can ask questions about anything related to adding more money and wealth into your life. Okay? So this is your time to share. All you need to do is come off mute and start sharing or asking your question, and we'll take you in the order that you do that. So 1, 2, 3, go. By the way, everybody, congratulate Tanya Lewitt, because she made the decision and she has joined the coaching group. Yay!
Woohoo!
Good to have you, Tanya. I don't know if you can come off mute and say hi or not, but okay, you did type something in chat. Cool. Some of you guys I know are at work. Anybody have anything they want to share, questions they want to ask? Or you guys just know everything and we're just here for social time, which that is not what we're here for. I'm assuming, though, if nobody's asking anything, that you guys have everything you want already.
I don't know if you can hear me, Kevin. Can you?
I can, and I heard two.
You can.
I heard two of you.
Okay, yeah, I didn't want to jump in anybody's way, but I wasn't sure if I could turn this microphone up, and I can. I just wanted to say thank you for the acknowledgement of me joining the group. And I have tears right now again, Kevin, because yes, that's me doing really good business, but not necessarily getting the really good pay. And I've made a decision that won't happen again. So thank you for your guidance and your help, and we'll be working on that going forward, I'm sure. Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely not going to be an issue.
Never going to be an issue again, and I really welcome somebody else to speak and to share. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thanks, Tanya. Somebody else was about to speak up.
Yeah, hi Kevin, it's Sunshine. How are you?
Awesome. How are you, Sunshine?
I'm well, thanks for asking. So I have a few things.
Okay.
So I wanted to share yesterday that after Landon started talking about the magic, I had gone to this coffee place called Clutch. They have this harvest greens juice that I like to have because I feel it raises the vibrations. It has lemongrass in it, so it helps rebalance.
Cool.
And when I got there, I gave the lady my card and I gave her my phone number because I go there and, if you give them your phone number, they have like rewards and stuff like that. And she was like, "You have a free drink. Do you want to use it today?" And I was like, "Yes, of course. Why not?" So I was really excited for my free drink. And I was really glad that I attracted that.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. The other question that I have is about when you feel like God has given you a no.
Okay.
So for the class, I really want to join. And I know that I've been told multiple times that when you're in the spirit of grieving, you shouldn't make any like
Major
financial
decisions.
decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even before I got that revelation this morning, I kept hearing a no, and I tried to get the money some other way, and that way didn't work.
Okay.
And then I devised the plan.
You devised a plan. Okay. Okay.
I devised the plan this morning. And I was like, this one will work. This one will work. But I felt very uneasy about it. And I felt like God was telling me no again. And then it was brought to my remembrance that when you're in the spirit of grieving, you should not make financial decisions. So
let me share something with you. Okay. You've got two options here, and I'm not telling you which one's better. You get to choose. Okay. So one of two, that's 100% correct, because the vibration that you're in when it's happening, it passes along. And I'm not telling you you should. Again, this is 100% up to you. So, but you can make decisions and bring it back to God, because here we go. Is for now, and there's no judgment involved with either choice, okay? Right now, potentially, could you be done grieving if you wanted to? Could you choose that being coached is more important than grieving right now for your life? Not telling you which one to choose. What I'm saying is, could you, because we all have choice, could you choose to put, and I know some people are like, but some people literally do this. I know in grieving, not necessarily that they're taught through law of attraction or all this other stuff. Some people kind of have in their own mind how long grieving should take. And I'm not laughing at the grieving. I'm laughing at again, it goes to us making up our own story is what it is. So some people grieve differently, and people also grieve for different amounts of time, right? Are you honoring the person you're grieving for by continuing to grieve? Do you think that that's what that person would want you doing? Or do you think that person would want you to move forward with an opportunity that could make your life better? I'm not telling you, though, that you need to stop grieving. That's personal. So you don't even have to respond. I'm just giving you something to think about, because you could, and I'm not telling you you should, you could decide today, you know what? I'm going to grieve for about 24 more hours, and then I'm going to call it good. I'm going to do what I need to do between me, God, and my friend, my family. I forget if it was a family member or friend, but that doesn't even matter. It's the person you care for. You know what? I'm going to get good with this, because I know that this is actually not probably what my friend or my family member would want me to do. They probably would want me to enjoy my life and move forward and honor them by becoming the best me I can be. And one of the ways I could potentially do that is by receiving this training. But I need to come into it in the right vibration. So God he's maybe saying no, but he's not saying no. He's saying no, not in the condition. And I don't even necessarily think what he is saying is no to doing it. What he's doing for the rest of us is protecting us from you. And I don't mean like you're evil or anything. Okay, he's protecting us because we're at a particular vibration right now. I feel the people that are coming on board, they're ready, and it's like, let's do this thing. And you might not be there, but you could 100% make the choice to be there by choosing to honor this loved one in such a way that you'll become the best you can become. And then God will probably open it up and you'll be good to go. But I'm not telling you that if you don't do this, life is, that you're wrong. It's a choice. And what we just read about, and we'll read about some more tomorrow, the law of forgiveness too. When we do make a mistake, thank goodness, we can actually turn it around. So if you were to make a mistake right now, or to continue to do this, that doesn't mean you'll never have an opportunity again to learn what you need to learn. It just might mean it's going to be down the road a ways.
Got it. Okay, I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
My follow-up question is, after this session, you'll be doing the coaching again, right?
Yeah, it'll cost more, but yes, I will. The price is going to go up, but yes, I will.
Okay, since I know, yes, in theory, I would love to be done grieving, but I am going to the funeral next week, and I don't want to take any chances. And it happened this past Saturday.
Gotcha.
So I will listen because I don't want to affect anybody else. And I could say, sometimes we say, yes, absolutely, we want to do something. And then life has its way of manifesting its own stuff through feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, 100% sunshine. Absolutely. Okay. Anybody else? It doesn't have to be around coaching. Okay. We can talk about what we normally talk about unless you want to, but any other comments or questions for us today? I say
Hi, Kevin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I say yes because we coached Akira and helped out yesterday.
You guys are amazing. I cannot. I'm sorry.
You froze on us, or at least you froze on me. Darn it.
Can you hear me?
Now I can, yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have another focus group going on. But yesterday I did manifest something pretty cool, and I wanted to tell you guys that this stuff does work. And
maybe if you go off video, you'll get some more bandwidth.
let me go in my bedroom. It's not allowing me to stop the video.
It's all right, I can. Okay, there you go. I can hear you well.
Okay.
Now.
So I had a training yesterday for basically for 6 weeks, where we had to show up every week for 2 hours. And the lady said that she was going to give out a raffle on the last day. I never thought about it. I never pictured any type of winning or anything. But yesterday, she was like 10 minutes into about to call the names, where she said she was picking 13 out of 36 teachers or family childcare providers. The prize that she said, I saw my hand touching the prize, my watch, all the figures, my fingers, and I just said, I already won. And as she's talking, she's saying her email in case you win. So I wrote the email down, because if I
hope everybody else can hear you. You're coming in and out on me, but I'm loving the story so far.
Oh, I'm sorry. So basically the gist of it, that I won a like a teacher lesson planner board.
Awesome.
As I was
Can you
hear me?
I just heard the can you hear me? If I don't know if everybody else can hear you or not. That's the thing. It could
We
be
can hear her.
Okay. All right.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
So that's all I wanted to share, was that when you visualize, see yourself doing it, it might just take only a minute, but keep repeating it and it will happen. And even if it didn't happen last night, where I won last night, I feel I would have got an email today that said, hey, there was a mistake, we wanted to add you to it, because in my mind it was just done. So I think we should just leave with that thought that it's done in creation, and there is a time period. I wanted to share how I did visualize and manifest something.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Speaking of, what I wanted super quickly, because we talked about something yesterday. I know she's not here with us, but I wanted to share this with you guys, because sometimes we are feeling not the very best, okay? And when we are really feeling low and someone says, oh, you should be excited and happy, and we're trying to shift from feeling, guilt and shame to feeling love and joy, that might be too big of a step for the moment. Right here is kind of a vibrational, I don't know if you want to call it a scale. It's not truly a funnel as much as, but except you get higher vibration as you go up. But if you look at this, this is kind of a scale. And if you look at the very bottom, like I said, the very bottom, it tends to be guilt and shame, which we know yesterday was going on with a particular discussion with someone, right? So there were definitely feelings of guilt and shame. But if you could, and I talked about you getting mad. I'm not saying go get mad, okay? But I just mentioned the idea of, funny enough, something that would be a low vibration for somebody who's usually in joy and peace, feeling anger and pride would bring you down. But if you're in the guilt and shame and apathy, feeling anger is actually movement forward. Okay, it's actually movement up the scale, and then the courage, and eventually we get to kind of this neutral place of, and neutral's fine. It just means we're not really attracting much, but we're certainly would eventually, if we can get ourselves up the scale a little bit at a time, and that's what happens. Sometimes feel guilt and shame and apathy. Here we go. We're talking about grieving, right? And where that fits on the scale when we're in the process of going through grief. And again, grief doesn't make good or bad. We're just talking about a vibration, okay? But we can move our way up the scale on purpose. But when we're trying to make the leap from guilt and shame, or let's say the leap from grief, what we were just talking about with sunshine, I personally believe currently right now, the people that are in our group that are going to be in the group coaching, they're at the willingness and above at this point. They're past neutral. They're past the neutrality, and they're in the willingness and above section of this. So when you try and put in, let's say there was that grief right there, it's not going to really match and resonate with what's going on right here. So I 1,000% understand, Sunshine, why you're making the choice that you're making. And I applaud you for making that choice. And I also applaud you for not overriding God. Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Totally. Now, on the flip side, if God said do it and you're not doing it, that is not a good idea for you. You will cause problems for yourself. So if he said do it and you're just being stubborn, bad idea. You're kind of spitting in God's face. You got to do whatever God in the universe actually inspire you to do. When they inspire you, you need to do it. Now, thank goodness for the law of forgiveness, but why purposely do something and then go ask for forgiveness later? Because then that's like saying, you know what, I'm going to go rob the grocery store, the drugstore, because I know I'm going to ask God to forgive me in a week from now. No. That's not how it works. Okay. There has to be kind of a true feeling of, oh, I recognize what I did wrong, not I have the intention to mess something up and go fix it later. That's not a good idea. Okie dokie. Any other questions or comments from the group?
Yeah, hi, this is Rich.
Hey, Rich.
I have one thing. The very end you were talking about like hoarding and cluttering, and basically I've gotten where I voluntarily haven't accumulated much in the past few years. However, there was a point when I both went to auctions and also happened to own a van at the same time. So I ended up accumulating a lot of stuff in my in my place, and that was like voluntarily. And I realized I need to go and try to streamline that, get rid of some stuff, get rid of some, well, basically toss some, donate some, and maybe sell some other things. But I also had 4 years ago, my stepmother moved and consolidated, and there were a few family heirlooms that I definitely wanted to keep. So it ended up cluttering my house even more. And she passed a couple of months ago, and then cleared out her place and ended up donating a lot. But I also ended up I've got more stuff in my place now. So I've been trying to slowly but surely consolidate and decide what I want to get rid of and stuff. But I realize that at least at this point, um, more stuff is a detriment rather than an asset.
Yeah, it could be. And again, it's all guidance and direction too. Like God's not, what we weren't being told was don't save money, right? But what we're told though is don't hoard. And because there's a spiritual, there's a vibration. There's a vibration of trust in God and the universe where we can acquire more and obtain more and save. And we're doing it with the intention of actually doing something really cool and good with the money, hopefully. The difference is when we're kind of trying to accumulate it so that we don't have to count on God, we can count on our bank account. I don't have to ask anybody for anything anymore because I have so much. I don't maybe not be saying this, but I don't even have to ask God, right? Because I have so much. Well, watch how that works out for you, right? COVID showed a bunch of people that that doesn't work so hot. So the better thing is to understand the laws of the principles, be creative, and be guided in what you do. And one of the best ways to do that is to start your morning in gratitude, like a lot of you guys are doing, and suggested, gratitude lists and things like that. Start the morning visualizing, like I said, for the first 5 to 15 minutes before you get out of bed, the life you truly want to live. And then ask God for guidance and direction. And if you ask with the truth and willingness to actually receive what is said, even if what is said to you isn't what you want to hear, sunshine, that was perfect, right? That, but the willingness to say, you know what, I get it. I get it, God, you're telling me something. And I said I would listen. And not only am I going to listen, but I'm going to actually act on the prompting, because I know if I listen and don't act on the promptings, then the promptings are going to stop too. So I appreciate what you just shared, because you're recognizing it's kind of like you're getting your own intuition, inspiration right now, Rich, of what you should do.
Yes, thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments before?
Kev,
Yes.
Kevin, hi, it's Sunshine.
Uh-huh.
CJ has a question, but he or she, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy,
Okay.
cannot unmute because the
They're at work.
children are
Okay.
singing with
Awesome.
their
Okay.
teacher. So I said I'd read what he or she wrote in chat.
Okay. Okay.
CJ said, I've been practicing the law of attraction for 4 years now, and my life has changed for the better. I
Awesome.
listened to this book on YouTube repeatedly, as well as a ton of others. I also listened to law of attraction hypnosis videos, and I'm in a very different place in my life. My question is, I am manifesting at a more rapid pace now, and sometimes the opportunities frighten me. And those, I think it's terror barriers,
Yeah.
just as I'm interjecting.
Sure.
In those moments when the fear sets in and it's almost crippling, I know that I should chill out and go meditate, but I don't do it right away. Why do you think that is? And what can I do to chill the anxiety and just allow the good thing to happen besides meditate?
Okay. So what I recommend that you do, I could go through it, but I think in a video format, and CJ, what I would type in, and you've probably seen some of this, but do this, okay? Go into YouTube and type in terror barrier. So terror barrier, and then also type in Bob Proctor. Terror Barrier and Bob Proctor. And what's going to pop up is probably multiple videos, okay? Just because Bob's put out a lot of content, okay? Bob has been my coach. I hired him to coach me. I have been a coach for his programs, and I'm independent now. Okay, I'm still friends and connected and everything else, and whatnot. And I think Bob's phenomenal. I could go through that now, but it would take a little bit longer to do it, and I'm not good with drawing and all this other kind of stuff. But look up Terror Barrier, Bob Proctor, and maybe you might want to watch more than one video that he does. Interestingly enough, he's definitely repetitive. However, sometimes he'll put a twist into something and then he'll never use that same twist again. So he's like 95% or 90% repetitive, but it's that 5 or 10% sometimes that you're like, now I get it. But you need to understand what's happening in your head, and you can't always just go back and meditate. Sometimes you actually need to go through it. But more often than not, you're right, you can go back and feel good about it. But you will get to a point that it becomes a normal feeling, and you can learn to change that feeling. That gut-wrenching feeling in your stomach can feel like excitement instead of like fear. And you can actually kind of trick yourself and getting excited about it when you know what's going on in the process. It's like, oh, the reason I'm feeling this right now is I successfully got two different things into my subconscious mind that are in opposition to each other. That's actually doesn't make me feel good, but that's a good thing. That means I've been able to take an idea. I have an opposing idea because those are my old results. That's my old programming. I've got this opposing idea, but I have successfully not only transferred it, I've thought about this thing, but I've had success by emotionally transferring it into my subconscious. But they're in opposition to each other right now. And that's why you're starting to feel more often than not, you said fear, probably more of an anxiety kind of feeling, you're not feeling at ease. Well, that's because you got two programs kind of duking it out with each other. That doesn't mean just by meditating that the one that you want is going to win over. You may need to go through that feeling continuously and then go through the terror barrier, and then the other one will drop out. It won't drop out of your subconscious, but this one will become dominant because you'll have actually experienced the thing and manifested the thing you wanted. And now your subconscious goes, well, looks like this one just won. This one was correct. This one was correct. But as you do that over and over and over again, you'll get that feeling sometimes, but you'll know, hey, that's just the two programs that are colliding with each other right now. I've already made the decision because I already got the inspiration, revelation, intuition I needed, that God already said, God in the universe said, this is the direction I should go. Just because it feels like that doesn't mean I should stop. Okay. God is not going to give you that fear to try and get you to stop. That's an opposing program. That's not God. Because a lot of you guys too will feel like if that's the way it's going, because if you're feeling that way, you'll stop. Oh, God must not want me to do it. God already said yes. God said go for it. And now because that program, you're successful. Now that's why you're feeling that way. God wants you to go through it and come out victorious. But he's not always going to just jump in and make this thing go away. He wants you to go through this because it is the process of change that you'll go through. And you may not have the time luxury, or you don't want to wait. And I say you don't. God wants you to have this thing now versus let's meditate more, 6 more months of meditating. Yeah, this might become stronger than this. I can finally walk through it. Well, maybe that opportunity is not what you should do any longer because it's 6 months later and God wanted you to do it right now. So if you could maybe type in CJ that was helpful, or you got more to ask, that would be terrific.
He said thanks, and that was helpful. and I will be victorious. Old programming will be overwritten for sure.
Awesome. Good for you, CJ. And thanks for asking the question. And I'm sure some of you guys are going to go look up Bob Proctor Terror Barrier today, which is fine. That's a good idea. It is a good idea. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments before we go today?
I have a follow-up question to what was just asked.
Okay.
Because I know that I feel like I remember you saying that Bob Proctor won't do something unless he's scared of it.
Well, it's not he won't do something. For him, a goal that, so let me clarify. Bob Proctor doesn't consider something a goal if, number one, today he could actually write out a plan that reasonably could get him there. Like if he already knows how to do it, there's no growth in that. He already can plan that. That doesn't mean he doesn't do something that he wants, but that's not going to change or make Bob Proctor a better human being or a better spiritual being for that matter. There's not going to be growth attached to that. There's no achieving. You already know what to do. You just need to go do it. And a lot of times when you already know how to do something, because we are spiritual beings trying to progress, we actually won't go do it because there's actually no challenge in it because we already figured it out. Sometimes the figuring it out is part of the process of growth. So for him, a goal has to be something that he today, right now, when he decides this is what I want, and that is the only determinator, right? The only thing that determines what a goal is it something I want to be, do, or have? And if it's something I want to be, do, or have, if I could actually make a plan right now and I know what steps to take to get there, or I know the first steps. And when I say first steps, I'm not talking the meditation, that the stuff we've been learning. Okay. I'm talking about, like a plan or whatever. If I can write out something and put something down and I have a plan today of how to do it, then that's not a goal. But the only thing that I need to decide is I want to be, do, or have it. And then I give it to God in the universe, and I visualize myself living at the end as if it's already happened. Then I also trust that God in the universe, it could be instantaneously, like 5 minutes from now or moments, or it could be 5 days from now or 5 weeks from now or 5 months from now, whatever. I trust that as I implant this into my subconscious, that I will get the inspiration, revelation, intuition of what my next step is to take. But for him, he won't have it if it's something he knows how to do. And usually, it's going to scare him and excite him at the same time, because the same way it's the way we're built. Bob Proctor today still has terror barriers. I wish I could tell you they go away. He recognizes what they are, though, and gets excited about them. But we don't actually get to a point, at least in our life here on planet Earth, where we're not going to face that. If we are never facing that, we're not growing. If we're always doing things that we can figure out on our own, we're not growing. Does that help?
Yes, that helps so much. Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome. All right. Anything else? Going once? Going twice? You got something?
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Betsy.
Yeah. Hi, how are you? I just
Perfect.
wanted to tell you what just happened to us.
Awesome.
My husband has been wanting to get this little car, a convertible.
Uh-huh.
And he's been thinking about it. And I said, okay, I'm going to think about it. I told him when his business starts revving up again, then he can get it. But he kind of got mad. He kind of got mad at me, and he says, I'm going to get it anyway. So he went and started looking for it, and he found it. And we did buy it. We bought it a couple of days ago, and he's so excited because he just loves it. And that night, that day, we got a check in, And it was from the IRS. He knew we were getting a check, but it was double the amount that we thought it was going to be. So it covered the car.
Yeah,
Just
not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm glad you didn't ultimately get in the way. Because you could have, even if he was like, I'm going to do it anyway. I imagine ultimately, if it came to, push to shove, you probably would have won. But I'm glad that you recognize he attracted it. That's awesome. And yeah, as a matter of fact, if he had not bought that car, funny enough, I bet you wouldn't have got double the money, but you'll never know.
No, never will know.
But I actually 100% know.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay,
that's
I
what
just
everybody
thought
else
I'd
in the
tell you.
world, everybody else in the world will refer to that as coincidence because they don't want to accept what happened here.
Mhm.
That he attracted not only the car, but he attracted the money to replace what it cost to buy the car. And that, by the way, that is a good lesson again for you guys. I don't want to spend money on that right now. I'm going to wait till I have it. I'm not tough. And he didn't go, did he go into debt to buy the car? Let's say that IRS thing didn't show up or what? What's he going to be? Right. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
we wouldn't have been in debt.
Right. So I kind of figured that. Thank you for sharing, Betsy.
No problem.
Awesome. Okie doke. Well, I'm going to let you guys go for today, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for showing up.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a
Thank-
good day all.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kevin.
You're welcome, welcome,
See
welcome.
you guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.